Danger, Will Robinson, danger! Warning, my arms are flailing wildly. I'm Charlton with the retro review of Lost in Space, the big screen adaptation of the cult classic mid-1960s TV series with Dr. Smith, but not Dr. Zaius, Dr. Zaius, not Dr. Zaius, Dr. Zaius. It did have the famous robot, but of course not Dr. Zaius, not Dr. Zaius, but it did have the Robinson family stranded on a planet, but this is big screen, big time, with really fakey special effects and Matt LeBlanc trying to be an action star. Whoo, boy, this movie was just ripe for all kinds of riffing, wasn't it? It also had Heather Graham back when she had a goddamn career. Had Lacey Chabert, that I am convinced was born part mouse. It also had William Hurt literally sleepwalking through his role. Mimi Rogers. It had Gary Oldman as Dr. Smith. You had Gary Oldman as Dr. Smith, and you somehow made this movie fucking terrible. I can't even mix words. Fucking terrible. This movie also was it was famous for being the iceberg as far as sinking Titanic from the #1 spot at the box office after 15 straight weeks. Yes, this miserable pile of shit, this $80 million fucking CGI-filled mess of a fucking movie and a butchering of a series that wasn't even that good to begin with, but sort of fit for the time period. I admit that I did not really care for the original Lost in Space series, but I can understand why people liked it at the time. And you're thinking, okay, big screen adaptation, some 30 years after the show ended. Fine, you could do that. $80 million budget. And by the way, from the director of Predator 2, Blown Away, and The Reaping. So yeah, this thing was fucked from the word go. It was also written by Akiva Goldsman. Look at his IMDb and see the kind of movies that he did. And you'll understand why this movie is fucking doomed. So yeah, if you can't tell, I really hated this. Now, admittedly, at the time this came out, I was 17 years old. I enjoyed it. It was what it was. It wasn't great. But I was like, cool. I was just happy to see something take down Titanic. Because I have a sister that loved the movie Titanic, and I was just happy to see that movie fucking fail. Finally, even though that movie made buco dollars, despite the fact it wasn't very fucking good. This was really not good at all. This was that late 90s glut of movies. It was just turning any TV animated series into a goddamn, big screen adaptation. But unlike stuff like, say, George of the Jungle or Good Burger, home of the Good Burger, May I Take Your Order, this had so much money sunk into it, yet looked so fake. The special effects look bad even for 98. It looks like shit. Everybody is just spouting a bunch of cliches. And it ruined the idea of having Gary Oldman as Dr. Smith. You couldn't make that work? You fucking idiot? So anyway, this had no business being over 2 hours. I mean, with the credits, it was over 2 hours. So there's a United Global Space Force. They've developed the Hypergate, a way to travel between planets and also save Earth because Earth's atmosphere and everything be whack. And also there's something called the Global Sedition. Should have been the Global Sedation, because I think everybody had to be, sedated for 24 hours to go. Why not be sedated? Actually, I think everybody on the crew must have been sedated, given the production values. So anyway, we're in the year 2058, and man is still late for his date. And to serve dinner on a plate. Okay, I'm fucking out of jokes here at this point. So Matt LeBlanc's character, Don West, no, not the famed TNA announcer that was really, really enthusiastic. No, he saves his friend while there's these global sedition people attacking and everything. And a bunch of cliches. This Cold War just got hot. Last one to kill a bad guy buys the beer. They were saying this while the space stuff is going on. And then, the special effects look fake on the surface and fake when you just saw them in action. It looked terrible. I can't even begin to understand how this movie was greenlit and how they saw all these scenes and thought, yeah, it looks like everybody is having a gun held to their head just off camera or being threatened with bodily harm if they don't say these lines being forced to. But goddamn, we did how many takes? And these were the ones we decided to go with? And so yeah, Alpha Prime is the next planet they got to go to. And if you don't travel properly through a hypergate, if you don't use things properly, you could end up anywhere. Gee, that won't come back to bite anybody in the ass. So yeah, Dr. Smith is an evil guy, obviously. He's Dr. Smith. If you knew anything about Gary Oldman, he very much has to play a bad guy. I don't really think that Gary Oldman is capable of playing a good guy in a movie, even if he tried, because he's just a natural bad guy. Great actor, though. coming a year off of being in The Fifth Element, another space movie that was fucking terrific, directed by Luc Besson. Just don't look at anything Luc Besson did as far as relationships. Pretty goddamn disgusting. And speaking of relationships, Stephen Hopkins and Heather Graham were dating at the time. Only 12-year age difference there, so at least that wasn't all that bad. He was about 40 and she was about 28. So anyway, the ship is lavish and plasticky, and since Matt LeBlanc is the best goddamn pilot, they need to get him here, but he doesn't get along with anybody except he wants to get it on with Heather Graham, who at this point, yeah, I would have and you guys would have too. The whole point is, this movie, the Robinson family set off on a space journey that will take them to the depths of space, not the depths of the Earth. It will take them to the vast outreaches of space. It will take them everywhere. And then Dr. Smith manages to sneak aboard, but the sedition sedates him, and he ends up on the planet. He ends up on the ship, heading towards that planet. By the way, they're supposed to be on a 10-year journey that gets interrupted because he reprogrammed the robot just before getting sedated. And now he's got to stop the robot from destroying, even though the robot's destroying. Same voice as the original robot, by the way. So that's a good thing. Everybody gets freed from their pods except Heather Graham. We need to have laser CPR, but that doesn't work. We need to have regular CPR. So the engines are fucked and everything's all fucked, and let's see what this baby can do. They get frozen in time, and we get a semi-sonic sound boom, and then every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. So, everybody hates Smith. I couldn't even do the everybody hates Chris thing properly. And they're lost. We're lost, aren't we? Lost in space, in a movie called Lost in Space? Mind-blowing. So, yes, let's just continue this, treacherous journey through space. So they find a ship that looks familiar. It turns out to actually have the friend that Matt LeBlanc saved earlier that is looking for him. And then also there's these weird creature things, these pockets of spider space crabs that are around. Spider space crabs that are making noises like the producer over to my right. And yeah, there was also this one point where Lacey Chabert's character was hitting on Matt LeBlanc on a video call thing. Lacey Chabert was 15 years old at the time of the shooting here. Matt LeBlanc was about 30. They didn't go anywhere with this except her hitting on him. But gross. Seriously fucking gross. Give me one moment, folks. The producer has something to say. You have something to say. By the way, while on the ship, they find a crazy space monkey. They find a CGI monkey, and you weren't very happy about this because you thought you should have been the mascot of this movie. Here's the problem, though. See, if you were the mascot of this movie, that would mean you'd be dead right now. I wouldn't be holding you on this deal, and you would have also been CGI and fake. And you're a good kitty. You are going to absolutely murder me once we get off this, once this video's done, aren't you? So anyway, yeah, he didn't like the CGI monkey. They called Blarp. Beep. So anyway, yeah, they called it Blarp. So, why was the monkey chameleon? Why was all this stuff happening? What was going on? Why in the world were there spiders, space crabs there? Oh, and also Will decided to hack the robot's mainframe and everything and deal and figure out if he could control him, and he did. And then he did space stuff and trying to battle these spider space crabs. And then everybody's got to get back to the ship and get free. But the spider space crabs decide to walk. But then they're frightened then they're drawn to heat like mosquitoes. So they set off the drive core there, or whatever the fuck it is, and get the goddamn things to go there. But oh no, spider spice crabs also somehow managed to swipe Dr. Smith. I'm sure he'll be fine. Oh, because he wouldn't be. This movie was agonizing. This movie went 2 hours and it somehow felt like it was 4. Even the producer agrees, and he's looking over at me like, you son of a bitch, how dare you pick me up. So, they crash on a planet that is from the game's Lost Planet. If anybody knows the Lost Planet series, good for you. So, basically what ends up happening is at one point, there are solar panels. They have 50% discount even in the future. God damn it, Rod. Nobody gets that. So there's this bubble on the planet, and it turns out that it's from this time machine that when they walk into, they find out that old Will is there, aka adult Will. Familiar actor. I'm going to let you guys figure out who that guy is. He very good character actor. Very good character actor that went on to have some big things. So anyway, big roles, that is. They come up with an old model for the new model robot with the same voice, by the way. Oh, you put some of your brain in me. That explains this warm, fuzzy feeling I have when I see baseball. Steve Reich, you're out. Why did you save me, Will Robinson? And then Danger, Will Robinson, Danger. Dr. Smith, by the way, outsmarts Will easily because Will's a fucking kid and an idiot. And then everybody gets in the bubble, well, outside of the women. The women stay on the ship because the women can't be trusted to do anything, apparently, because sexism still exists in the 20 whatever the fuck we are. Maybe in the distant future, maybe 2480. I don't, wait, no, it'd actually be like 2078 or something like that. It'd be like 20 years in the future. So it turns out that Smith was mutated by the goddamn bugs. And yeah, he gets mutated by the bugs. And then, earlier in the movie when the space spider crab things were attacking, when one of them got killed, they would eat their wounded. That comes back to play in a little bit. He's not a Sith Lord, it's more like a shit Lord. He spouts some stuff. Will had managed to build a time warp. Let's do the time warp again. And the bubble's getting more unstable. Danger, Will Robinson, danger, we're doing all this. Old Will knows that Smith killed them. I don't know how the fuck he didn't figure this out until the rest of the characters came along. So there's this little stabby thing that he has, almost a sword-like deal, or almost like a spike, that the robot had in him for some reason, and young Will gave the dad that, and William Hurt decides to hurt Gary Oldman. He says, remember the ship? They ate their wounded. And then he gets killed. Smith does, and nothing of value is lost. He saves his son, and then the ship crashes and blows up. Oh no! But then they reprogram the time travel thing, and the dad goes back to save and says, we have to go through the planet like we went through the sun earlier in the movie. Oh yeah, they went through the sun earlier in the movie because why the fuck wouldn't they? This movie has no goddamn scientific shit at all. It's fucking terrible. Absolutely fucking terrible. But they then kept going. They managed to get through the planet and use the gravity to get back. And then they're going to use the hypergate to travel, hopefully for Alpha Prime, but who knows? We'll find out in the sequel. That never fucking goddamn happened. So anyway, in closing, Lost in Space 1998 was a complete fucking wash with terrible CGI, terrible performances, and they wasted a Dr. Smith character, played by Gary Oldman, in this movie. And also CGI Monkey. So in closing, I know you didn't like it. I know you wanted to be in the CGI Monkey's place, and you would have had royalties. At least you chirp less than Lacey Chabert. So yes, the producer didn't like this movie. The producer also is about to claw my chin. So, agree, disagree with what we said, folks? Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. This is the producer. I'm John Ritlin, and I'll see you soon.